If you have small children, then you've probably heard of Blippi. And if you've heard of Blippi, then you've probably heard of the video that Blippi made pre-Blippi. It's disgusting. I've watched it so that you don't have to. And let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Sandra. And today I want to talk about Blippi. He's popular amongst like the toddler to preschool aged kids. My daughter is 6 and in kindergarten, and she probably stopped caring about Blippi about like a year and a half ago. He does not seem to be so popular to a lot of parents. I had my questions about him in the beginning, just like everybody else did. And I did some Googling and it came back with some interesting things that maybe you want to know about, and maybe you know and it doesn't matter to you. I fall somewhere probably in the middle of that group, but we'll talk about that later. So even with all the backlash that he's gotten from a lot of parents, he continues to be incredibly successful. Blippi is a character portrayed by a man named Stevin John. He now has several different YouTube channels with millions and millions of subscribers and views, but the original channel was started 8 years ago and it's called Blippi Educational Videos for Kids. And it has 15.2 million little subscribers. I went back to see how many views like one of his oldest videos got, and it has 124 million views. And if you're a parent whose child likes Blippi, you probably contributed to some of those views, because I know my kids, there were certain episodes of his that they just wanted on repeat all the time. And so yeah, we all know the famous excavator song, right? Excavator. The description on YouTube refers to Blippi as everybody's best friend who explores the world. And it states that kids will learn about vehicles, animals, and the natural world, which I would agree with. That's pretty accurate for what the content entails. I mean, my twins could say excavator before they could put together a sentence. And to be honest, I didn't even know what an excavator was. I had to look into it. I mean, I knew it was like a construction vehicle, but I didn't know which one. Blippi does this by going to places that kids like. He visits zoos, aquariums, parks, racetracks. Sometimes he's just outside in his own backyard throwing stuff in his swimming pool, which we'll get to why that kind of stuff annoys parents in a little bit. I pretty much think it's somewhat educational but fun at the same time. So that's why I allowed my children to watch it in the beginning once we discovered Blippi. And then about 6 years ago, he broke off into 2 channels, and the other one is Blippi Toys, which, you know, everybody has a toy channel now so that they can basically convince your kids that they need all these new toys, which is kind of annoying, but it's the trend, so I don't really fault him for that. And that one has like, I think like over 8 million subscribers as well. And then he has Blippi Songs, which is music videos. Some of it is him and people singing, some of it's animated with him singing to the animation. So what we all wanted to know in the beginning is, who is this guy, right? Who is Stevin John? Stevin John was born Stevin John Grossman. I'm assuming he changed his name to disassociate with his past, which we're going to go over right now. He actually served as a loadmaster in the US Navy before becoming a YouTube star, but in between there, he made what is called gross out comedy videos, something I was not familiar with until I looked into this. And I'm happy that for 30 some odd years of my life, I did not know what it is, because it's gross. Back then, he went by Stezzy Grossman, and that's when he did these gross out comedy videos. And it starts out with him sitting on a toilet, nude, and he's wearing sunglasses and a hat, I think. And he's doing these dance moves that, after seeing it, I was like, those are not Blippi moves. Like, those are Steven's original moves, because this is back before he was Blippi, and he's sitting on the toilet and he's doing his like little Blippi like dance moves. And that just made the video completely worse than it had to be, because I associated him with Blippi at that point. And then it cuts to him standing on the toilet, his friend or some other consenting adult laying on the ground nude as well, and they play music and they're both kind of like bopping to it, and then all of a sudden Stevin or Stezzy Grossman just takes a big old disgusting diarrhea shit on his friend. And you know it's real because you can see this man struggling, and he even starts gagging, which I started gagging watching it. I'm telling you, don't watch it. Like, it's out there and you don't want to see it. It's called Harlem Shake Poop. I'm assuming they were following some type of trend or trying to be very like Jackass. Those of us who grew up in the 90s remember Jackass. Like, I don't know, but it was just foul and it went viral. Since then, he has tried to get it taken down from the internet, which we all know is like literally impossible. There was a time back when I first found out about Blippi and I heard about this, and I did Google it and I didn't see the video anywhere, so I don't know if it just like resurfaced, but it's out there and he has expressed many times that he regrets it and that he is sorry that he ever made a video like that. I don't know. I have a past, you have a past, we all have past. Have I ever shit on anybody? No, thank God I can say I haven't. The thing that was a little bit concerning to me that I found out during research for this video is that there wasn't a large gap between when he did that video and when he became Blippi. So that was in 2013, which was only 9 years ago. And Blippi, I don't know what year he started Blippi, but when you go to the first video on YouTube, it's 8 years old. So there could be months between, there could be a year between, I'm not sure. But the rumor is, the way he states that Blippi became a character is he has nephews that he wanted to make educational fun videos for, and something that they could, you know, watch over and over again. So he created this character Blippi and he made videos for them and he put them on YouTube so that obviously their mom could stream for them, and then it became a thing. People started noticing it. Overall, it didn't make me want to prevent my children from watching his content. My boys still like to watch him here and there. I do believe that people change and people progress in life. He was young, he's in early 30s right now, so almost a decade ago he was early 20s, and I remember that time in my life. I'm very happy that there's nothing on the internet from that time in my life, so I feel like I can't necessarily fault him for that now, you know, almost a decade later. He doesn't teach kids like morals really, you know, I mean, outside of the normal like children content of like be nice to friends or share stuff like that, but ultimately like he's not teaching morals. He's talking to them about colors and the alphabet and tractors and excavators and animals and stuff. So like that's fine as long as he stays in that wheelhouse. Like I don't think his past is necessarily a problem. So I do have a list of issues that a mom on Reddit posted. This was 2 years ago, so this might be different now. He is very highly produced now, when before you could tell it was just like him and buddies doing videos, because sometimes, you know, there's other people in the videos. But this was 2 years ago, prior to him becoming a big produced show. He even has a Blippi's Treehouse, I think it's called, and he has a female co-host, Mika, which is like super cute. But anyways, these are the issues she had with Blippi back then, and I'm just gonna kind of tell my opinion on these things. There are glaring misspelling of words that flash across the screen. That's the opposite of educational. I would agree, you know, that is the opposite of educational. I personally don't sit and watch it with that. Like, I don't sit and pay attention to the point where I would notice anything like that. So I don't know how frequent that happens, or if it's just like it's happened a time or two. Like I said, he is now very produced and there's a team behind him. Before it was just him and like whoever else he could work with. So I think maybe that was the issue then, and maybe it's resolved now. The kids that really watch his content do tend to be like 2 to like 4, so I don't think they're reading what he's writing. It is still problematic, don't get me wrong, but it would be different if it was geared more towards like kindergartners to second graders who are learning to read and now they're reading misspelled words. But that's just my opinion. Blippi has encouraged dangerous behaviors, examples running alongside a moving bus or having power tools. I don't obviously know the exact examples that she's referring to, but I will say that I've seen him give disclaimers like, now make sure, you know, mom and dad help you with stuff like this. So I think like probably he would have said that around the power tools. Running alongside bus, yes, I could see that being problematic. The time that upset me is when he sprayed ketchup and mustard all over what I'm assuming was his truck, and then like went to the car wash and hand washed it off. But like, don't tell my kids to spray my vehicle with mustard and ketchup because they come up with that stuff on their own. They don't need you putting that in their head. I'm just kidding. It wasn't that serious to me, but I would say that if you watch any children's content, there's going to be times where you're like, I don't know if they should be showing this to kids, but I think it's so hard to shield them from ever seeing any type of dangerous or inappropriate type behaviors like that on television or even around, you know. Like, there are so many times where my kids are like, well, that kid's doing it at the park, and I have to teach them, like, that's that child's choice, and if their mom or dad want to let them do that, that's fine, but we don't do that. So I don't think that is necessarily for me like a deal breaker when it comes to Blippi. He seems to be annoyed by actual live children he accidentally encounters in places he films. I have heard people say that. Again, early on, before it was highly produced, I feel like he would go to these play areas and these parks and stuff, and I mean, he wasn't like renting them out. You know, he didn't have consent to be there, so these kids probably couldn't be on film, or he'd have to approach their parents and say, hey, I'm going to put this on YouTube. Do you have a problem with that? So I think that's where that annoyance came from. I could be wrong. Maybe Blippi hates kids, but he has 2 nephews he claims to love. He just had a son of his own. He's engaged now, so I don't know if I think he hates kids. I feel like a lot of that was the perception because he was trying to film this YouTube video and kids kept kind of, you know, cutting in the way and stuff, and there's legality issues that come with capturing somebody's kid on camera. So I'm wondering if that was the case, but I don't know. His voice effects and manner are insincere and infanticide. I had to look up infanticide, and I don't even remember what it says now, what it means. But I think the way that he acts and the way that he speaks is pretty age appropriate. You know, kids aren't going to sit and listen to somebody who's monotone, right? So he's very loud and expressive, and it keeps their attention. Like, that's what you want, is you want their attention to be kept if you're trying to teach them something, or obviously if you're trying to run a successful YouTube channel, because that's your bread and butter. He misidentifies objects and doesn't bother to correct them, either on the spot or in post-production. Again, I can't speak to this because I can't think of an example, so I kind of really won't even give an opinion on that. If it's true, then, you know, he probably shouldn't have posted a video about it. Maybe he didn't know he misidentified things. I don't know. I can't speak to that. He pushes the spelling of his name hard, as if he's trying to grind it into a child's consciousness, and harvest clicks. Yeah, it's his profession. That's his job. He is now a creator of content, and you want people to remember your name, especially kids. So like, I say, Mom, can you put on Blippi? I think it's cute. In the beginning, when my kids will say Blippi, I don't know, I think it's cute. But hey, by the way, my name's Sandra, and this is called the SandraV Show, so give me those clicks. That's just the name of the game, you know. It's marketing and advertisement. It's just part of it. Incidents such as doing an entire video with his pant zipper all the way down is either terrible production value or a sick joke. Again, I've never noticed this. If that is the case, I do think it's, you know, how did he not notice, or how did somebody not notice? Because even early days before it was like a big production, it seemed like he had a friend following him around, like a go cam or something. A go cam? No, what is that called? I don't remember what it's called, and it's gonna drive me crazy. Anyways, you know, those cameras that are meant to be out like vlogging and stuff. And so I don't know how him or that friend didn't catch it, or like she said, in post-production, how did they not notice that and just kind of scrap the video or reshoot it? You know, it's kind of their responsibility as being in front of kids, I would think, is to make sure that they take care of that kind of stuff. But I do see a problem with that. He can be seen throwing toys and objects around it with disregard and not cleaning them up or addressing that he just did it. It's another one that I think is kind of silly, because I mean, I could probably find cartoon. Maybe this woman doesn't let her kids watch cartoons, but my kids watch cartoons. I could probably find that in other cartoons and movies. There's obviously no children or no child care or education professional involved compared to Sesame Street or Daniel Tiger. I would agree. Again, 2 years ago when she wrote this, that's probably true. I think now they've done work on that now that he has like a full team. But come on, Sesame Street has gotten some shit in the past, so to compare it is a little silly because they've had their own issues where people have kind of come for them too. The entire presentation is loud, frantic, noisy, and hyperactive, aspects known to hypnotize small children. I think that's silly. It's like that whole Coco something thing. My kids never got into that, so I don't remember the name, but I know that people felt like it was like putting their kids in a trance. I mean, this morning we were watching Trolls and my kids were in a trance. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's what's entertaining. That's what keeps a child's attention. It's like loud and frantic and noisy and hyperactive, because kids are loud and frantic and noisy and hyperactive. At least mine are. So, you know, that's what catches them. But again, I just don't think I'm sensitive to stuff like that with my kids. My final thoughts. I know maybe this video came out like I'm like a Blippi super fan, which I'm not. Like, I don't care that much. Ultimately, that's why I said in the beginning I fall somewhere in the middle. But I know that my kids enjoy him, or at least they did. It's starting to fizzle out in my house, but when they did and it was time to put something on, you know, like, he went to the Phoenix Zoo. We go to the Phoenix Zoo. My kids think that's cool. You know, every time we pass by the big tortoise, even to this day, my daughter will be like, that's the tortoise that Blippi fed. It probably is, because tortoises live to be like 150. So that's cool to them, you know, like stuff like that they can associate. I just think people will pick apart and find flaws with anything. And I do feel like when grown men make children's content, there's a little bit of this double standard where like, there must be something, you know, like this can't be normal. This grown man should not be doing this for kids. I think that is kind of a stigma. So I think there's that, but I think ultimately, like, some people just read more into things than other people. So of course, like everything, it comes down to, you know, what works best for your family, and how serious you take some of this stuff. But yeah, that's my take on Blippi and all that comes along with him, apparently. So if you like content like this, please like the video, subscribe, and come back, because together is a beautiful place to be. Bye.